Merry Many Monday, Chunkies. I'm Carter.
I'm Doge.
I'm Jordan. We were just singing that song before the
Carter
recording.
Dion.
We're just Carter Dion.
That's how we do this stuff. Guys, we've got a handful of things to talk about. One of those not being Obi-Wan. If you listened
get out of here.
Not all of our conversation for Mini Monday last week, you would have missed that we decided not to. There's a bit of Star Wars fatigue, at least this kind of Star Wars story fatigue over here at Two Chunks. I wanted to clarify that up front. Boys, today we're going to talk a couple trailers. We're going to talk Top Gun Maverick. And then we're going to play a game for the second time.
Ooh,
a new one that we're bringing back. You know, we're not trying to do it to death. We're just going to bring it back when we need it. But to start, there's a couple trailers that we've watched recently, very different kinds of movies that I'd love to talk about. The first one is the next in a line of now many Disney remakes in terms of kind of, what would you say, live action? It's tough to say live action because none of Lion King was really live action. It was all computer generated, but you would call it that. But we have Pinocchio. So Pinocchio released. This is going to be September 8th, 2022. We got our first trailer.
Disney Plus Day.
Do what now?
It's coming out on Disney Plus Day.
Is that Disney Plus Day?
Yeah, that's the day they announce all the new stuff coming to Disney Plus, and part of the celebration is a premiere of Pinocchio.
Well, here it is, just straight
the puppet boy.
Pinocchio.
Pinocchio.
The puppet boy.
Puppet. Oh no, he's a runaway.
He got swallowed by a fish.
He's running outside. He gonna warp.
He wanna be a real boy.
Let's go a whole nother runway. September 8th, we have Tom Hanks as Geppetto. We have Lorraine Bracco as Sophia the Seagull. Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah.
I think they should have named him Jiminy Gordon Cricket, but that's fine. Luke Evans as the coachman is very exciting for me.
Yeah, that's a good
Luke
cast.
Evans has been my favorite thing about any of the new live-action remakes. Him as Gaston was everything. Keegan-Michael Key, Honest John, Cynthia Erivo as Blue Fairy. That'll be a fun one to add to her credits. What did y'all think of the trailer?
I went in preparing to
with you.
hate it, and I really liked that trailer.
Oh, could not be less interested.
Oh.
These live action Disney remakes have lost me completely.
I
I'm not
agree,
interested in
but
the
I thought the
slightest.
trailer was exciting.
I'll watch it. Can I tell you why I'm not interested?
Tell me.
It's the original Pinocchio scared me big.
Oh, yeah.
It scared me big.
Fair enough.
Pinocchio was smoking cigars and turning green. He was turning everyone around him was turning into donkeys. There's a giant whale. It's pretty ferocious.
It is.
And so I'm sure it's going to be even scarier now. And I don't know, maybe it's a good time in my life for what I'm learning about myself to revisit.
I think, you know what? I think you're a big enough boy you could watch it and not get scared.
I don't know about that.
Maybe.
I think
you know
you
what? We
can
might
mull
be
that
able to
through,
watch. Well, any other opinions on Pinocchio?
Have we talked about my conspiracy theory with these live action Disney things?
No.
I think there's two reasons they're making them.
Money?
One is to keep renewing their copyright on these characters.
Ooh.
So that
That's why we got
Pinocchio...
a handful of the old ones every now and then.
Exactly. That's why we're getting Pinocchio now, because we're nearing the century mark on Pinocchio.
Cinderella was the first one, eh? That's a pretty old one, too.
Yeah.
Snow White's on the
I think they're trying to keep their copyright on these characters. And number two, it is cheaper to produce a film and a more immediate return in terms of profit than it is to remodel their theme parks and remove Pinocchio from all their theme parks around the world. So they just make a live action Pinocchio so that their theme parks can stay the way they are.
I like it.
I figured it out. I figured I can see through the lies of Disney.
There are so many branches. There are so many cogs in the wheel that churns out money for Disney.
Mm-hmm.
It is
astounding, some would say.
It's astounding. I would even say, I think Disney's on the come up, to be honest. We had another trailer
For once.
that we saw.
Yeah, they're going to be big.
Releasing November 18th of this year. And isn't it kind of fun to talk about releases and be pretty confident that they'll happen on that day?
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah,
I remember not even caring on this podcast. It's like, and Triple X, The Return of Xander Cage. Who knows?
Yeah,
Who
sure,
knows?
sure.
Who
guys.
knows?
Whatever you say.
Sure.
Whatever you say.
The Menu. This looks
very excited for this.
Yeah,
What?
this just released. This looks. This trailer just released, about 90-second long. Good trailer. It has piqued my interest.
Yeah.
Anytime Ray Fiennes looks like a bad boy.
Yeah.
Anytime, like Anya Taylor-Joy is
Johnny Legs even?
she's on fire right now. She's just doing all the good things.
You guys have to see The Northman, by the way.
It's
I
available
know.
for rental now.
No way.
Please watch
Mhm.
it. Please watch it. That's the most recent thing I saw her in, and it's fantastic.
I'm so excited for it. I'm super excited for it. But the menu looks good. I'll give a quick. It's a comedy. They're calling it a comedy horror.
Yeah.
So perhaps it might show up. Who knows? Maybe for this podcast around the time of Chunktober. I'm not sure. It's November, so we'll see. A young couple travel to a remote island to eat at an exclusive restaurant where the chef has prepared a lavish menu with some shocking surprises.
The
Yeah.
surprise is people, right? It's people.
I don't know.
They eat.
Ooh, that'd be
they're
fun.
eating.
That's my
Yeah, it'd be
assumption.
fun.
The foods is people.
But the
Ooh, that'd be
director of this movie is Mark Mylod, who has directed the lion's share, I believe, of Succession.
Yeah, 12
Oh, cool.
episodes.
And
Some of Game of Thrones, but in the good years.
Mm.
he is a
Um,
legit director, dude. I think
Cool.
this is going to be a lot of fun.
I think it's going to be a
so
lot of
sold
fun.
on this movie. This
It
looks so fun.
It feels right up there with Don't Worry, Darling. I think we're getting these fun. I
Yeah.
love these
Yeah.
thrillers like
Ooh,
this.
yeah.
With these,
He straddles
big,
that
beautiful casts.
thrilling and funny very well.
Mhm.
And so I think that's going to be right up his alley. That's
It's a good
really
cast for it,
exciting.
too.
These-
Nicholas
so Don't
Hoult
Worry,
is,
Darling. Don't Worry, Darling, and the menu absolutely feel like a result of COVID in terms of like these are much lower investment for
Yeah.
a studio to produce. We're getting big name actors, but we're not having to create entire CG planets like it's a Marvel movie or
Yeah,
something.
sure.
Yeah.
And that excites me so much
Mhm.
because they feel so fresh compared to
They
everything else that's coming out right now.
Fresh like the bodies being served on the menu.
Yes,
Right?
fresh like that medium rare
You know what
people
it-
steak.
You know what it feels like? Low budget feels Hitchcock to me. Of just being able to pull off some thrills without having to spend too much. I mean,
Jordan, he was a really old director. You probably hate all his
Did
work,
he?
but he was a really old director.
of course, when you cast Jimmy Stewart it's probably not that cheap. But
Is that a cycle up there? Throw a lasso around. Bring it right down.
I won't take any less than the moon.
What do you want off the menu, people?
What do you have? You want a human? You want a puppet? He's over there. Oh no.
Was that Mario at the very end, or was that still
That
Jimmy
was-
Stewart?
Japario.
Japario?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh no. Can we talk about Top Gun Maverick? Doge, you did mention kind of getting away from the massive CGI sets and that kind of stuff. And it feels like in Hollywood, at least for not necessarily all generations, because there are a handful of us that'll just keep taking the spoonfuls of MCU when we can get them.
Mhm.
There are these big, hardly any of these big action set pieces anymore. Outside of maybe like 1917, like war movies.
Right.
I would say like Dunkirk, something like
Yeah.
that. But we've got Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun Maverick. We're recording this. Should I let them behind the curtain?
Yeah, sure.
Let them know
Yeah,
the date
sure,
on a
absolutely.
Wednesday on June 1st.
Little early.
Top Gun
Yeah.
Maverick released less than a week ago. Am I right on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, less than a week ago. $300 million.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
And
I have
we will be going to see it this weekend, Callie and I.
I think we are too. I
and
think we are
we
too.
also watched Top Gun OG on Saturday for Callie's first time
We
ever.
watched it 2 days ago. My first time ever.
I would love to know some quick thoughts from your perspective because Callie loved it and I thought the movie held up really well.
I think it did too. I think it's one of those things where you get to watch. You already know how iconic it is, especially when, like, from the jump, it's like highway
Yeah.
to, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Like you, there's already some grace because you know it was coming in. It's like watching New Hope. You're just like,
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's just trying. It's just trying these new things.
I
What
would
was
say the
funny
most
is-
offensive thing about OG Top Gun is driving to a date without showering after sand volleyball and then asking your date if you can shower at their house.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, baby Tom Cruise. It was good. It was great, and so I'm excited for watching Maverick. And I want to bring this.
We talked
the
about
table here.
we've let them know that that's our bonus ep for Datter
It
Day.
is, yeah.
After,
Yeah, it's gonna be our
after
bonus ep.
Datter Day
You're gonna
afternoon.
be hearing our ops on that,
Yeah.
and maybe some of our ops on the original too, mixed in there.
Yeah,
We
might
watch
just do
it.
a little Top Gun twofer.
I want y'all, and this is a conversation that I think we can spend a good amount of time on, and I don't necessarily want to reserve it for the Maverick conversation. Because, Jordan, from what I understand, you're a pretty big Tom Cruise fan.
I like Tom Cruise, yeah. I do.
Tom is having a bit of a renaissance. People haven't forgotten about Scientology, but they've given him some grace. He wore a fat suit in Tropic Thunder, and everybody's like, okay, he's fine. There was an article that kind of got viral that was saying that Tom Cruise is the last true Hollywood action star.
Ooh.
What do you think of that?
Maybe the last of an era still going.
Feels like an era, doesn't it? I mean, in the middle of Saturday afternoon, when we have there's a Rushmore, right? We don't have to make the Rushmore right now, but the Stallones, the Schwarzeneggers, the Willises, the Van Dammes. And
you
like
put yourself up there. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm definitely up there.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think you could make an argument that he is the last of a bygone era who has managed to pivot and continue working very well now. But I mean, what would you call Keanu, Tom Hardy, Chris Hemsworth? Like, these guys are action stars. Action movies, just the funnel is wider now. So the archetype is not just dude who does his own stunts anymore. Now it's Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Now it's, you just have a different
Fast
and it's
series,
not that the Tom Cruises are outdated. There's room for them too, but now there's also room for charm, charisma, and those things that Tom Cruise also has, I think. So
yeah.
Do you think anybody else is anybody else doing that Tom Cruise thing? Will anybody else do that again?
If you're defining do their own stunts, then I kind of think no, not to this
I kind of don't think no, because I do think we have an exception. We talked about it on Uncharted. It was my super pump.
Yeah.
Is Tom Holland doing his own stuff
true.
to the extent that it is allowed. I think Tom Cruise gets to do whatever he wants because you're not going to tell Tom Cruise no.
Well, at this point, it's assumed that we're going to get a news article within the next decade of like Tom Cruise dies on set. Like, that's going to happen.
Yeah. Also, his push for all that kind of stuff is like one of the last branches of his personality that people care about. And so it's like,
true.
That's good for media junkets to be able to say like, no, he demanded we weren't going to be able to get in this jet unless we let him fly it, and it's the same old. You would assume if he's on board and likely a producer, it's going to happen. Just let him do it.
For sure.
But before we get into our game for the second time, let's take an ad break.
You made it. Checked out of office to check into the sweet views of this place where the kids aren't asking for the Wi-Fi.
Mom, can we go to the pool?
And when you're with Amex, it's not if it's going to happen, but when. American Express. Don't live life without it.
And welcome back.
Oh no.
I don't have the welcome back like Jordan does on Tuesdays. I don't ever dive into that. I'm not really the Tom Cruise of this podcast.
I'm an in media res kind of guy for the welcome back. I just like to jump back in.
Yeah, I'm not really doing my own stunts here. I'm having my stand-in. And Adam's out tonight, so I can't really, I got to do it myself.
Yeah, I thought that looked a little more like Barter Dillis.
He's country for sure.
Barter?
Yeah.
Hey! He's just that old hound dog in all the Disney movies.
Oh, you meant like Bumpkin Country.
Talking about a podcast.
Can you intro this game as Barter? Actually, can you step away from the mic and let Barter intro the game? Yeah.
Barter, you want to come in? Yeah, sure. All right, my friends, I'm happy to be here on the Two Chunks again here on the Hunk. And I wanted us to play this game that is the one from The Miserables that we talked about, where Jean-Claude, you know what? You don't have to worry about this anymore. Barter, it's fine. No, it's fine. No, you're fine. Why don't you go ahead and, you can go ahead and, thank you. You're fine. I'm happy to do it.
It's so funny that a microphone changes that scenario from like, oh, he's not okay, to like, oh, that's comedy now.
Yeah.
Like, you take away the microphone and you're just alone in a room having that interaction.
It's kind of Smeagol, but now that you have a microphone, it's like, this is good.
This is
and people
funny.
wanna listen
This is
to it.
good and funny.
Somewhere, my sweet dog is like, who is this other person?
There's someone else
JK,
here.
she hears me do voices.
Nana's
all
like,
the
is
time.
Barter here again?
Barter's back.
Not Barter. Is Barter in the room with us?
He always smells like dried meat.
It's called jerky.
Like jerky. We're going to play a little bit of Who Am I? We got to do it real nasally, like 2, 4, 6, oh, in Who Am I? This is a new game on the podcast. These boys are going to try and guess the movie based off of either a good review of a bad movie, that's a fresh review on Flickster of a bad movie, or a bad review of a good movie. I will not designate exactly if this is a good or bad review. These boys have to work together to try and guess what the flick is. Of course, I'll try and edit if names come up, but a lot of times critics are too in their own heads to put proper nouns in reviews. So here's a little bit of Who Am I? Is that what we ended up calling it?
I don't remember.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
24601. It wasn't that, was it? Our first review, this comes from Neil Norman of the London Evening Standard. I guess I'll have to, let me
This
try and be
paper
Neil.
only comes out at night.
The London Evening Standard. The result, I'm sorry to say, is that blank seems almost banal in its achievement. A film that sacrifices humanity for technical wizardry.
It's banal.
Banal, dude.
I hated this movie. It was awful. My least favorite.
Neil can never pronounce things right. Carter can, Barter can't, Neil can't, Carter can.
Neil can't. Carter can.
Here's another review from Serena Donadoni. You got to assume that's wrong with how bad I am today.
Sure.
From the Metro Times in Detroit, Michigan. The director has made a film about bravery that doesn't shy away from the horrors encountered by soldiers, even in a good war. But they weren't quite brave enough to present the story without a comforting coat of, oh no, I can't pronounce this either. Saccharin. Critics do this all the time.
Saccharin?
Saccharin.
Is it really saccharin?
I believe so.
I try too hard. I try and make it like a exotic thing.
You put
when
a little
it's just-
too much
it's just
fancy on it.
banal. What's this movie?
Is this Saving Private Ryan?
Interesting.
Because these are negative, but that I bet that's a positive flick.
Yeah, so I was going to say 1917, but I guess there's not really like a sweet candy coating on that one now, is
But
there?
technical wizardry could be the whole like one take thing.
Yeah, that's sort of what I was thinking is like they tried to bury it under something cool.
Yeah. I'm fine to guess 1917.
I like
Let's give that a
1917.
shot. Yeah.
Lock it in.
You lock it in.
Lock it in.
The movie is Saving
Dang
Private
it.
Yeah.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Saving Private Ryan.
First guess,
Yeah.
best guess, huh?
Yeah.
First guess, best guess. I don't know if that's consistently ever. There's not anything that has consistently worked, I don't think.
No.
in some
Historically,
of these
that's not
games.
been true for us.
In some of these games.
We got Dookie brains.
You got Dookie for brains like Barter. It's a good Dookie, though. The director's deeply disappointing movie is a sad thing when set against the modest, factual 1958 film, A Night to Remember, was the title of the film that they're talking about here.
Wait, what? So they changed names.
Do what now?
Like that's not the name of the movie the review is for, but that was the name of the 1958 version.
Yes.
Okay.
Of the film. I've got another review for you. The director's movie looks grand, but proceeds rather absurdly, as it tells a tear-jerking but preposterous story of a love affair viciously fought by the most dastardly villain since the demise of gaslight melodrama.
What?
Remake of A Night to Remember.
Remake of A Night to Remember.
Got
I
one
think-
more for you.
Okay.
I
Want
think
another
every
review?
version. Yeah, go ahead.
At least we know there won't be a sequel.
Is this A Star is Born?
The original Star is Born is called A Star is Born.
This is the third one. The Bradley Cooper Lady Gaga is the third one.
Wait, really?
The Christopherson one is a remake.
Is there a villain
think-
in A Star is Born?
I don't know.
Alcohol?
Yeah, maybe. Bummer. Bummer feelings.
It was alcohol the whole time.
A Night to Remember doesn't feel descriptive of the story to me.
Well, sure, but now we're a copy of a copy, so
Sure. A Night to Remember. A love story torn asunder
yeah.
by a dastardly villain, the likes we haven't seen.
And definitely there's going to be no sequel.
And definitely there's no sequel.
I'm leaning Star is Born.
Okay.
I think I'd have to be convinced out of that.
Let me wiggle my brain around for just a minute. Let me think.
Are you having fun with Who Am I?
Yeah, I like this game a lot.
Easy one to play at home.
I'm happy with A Star is Born. I don't think it is, though. But I'm happy to go that way because I don't have anything better. Let's lock it in.
Let's try it. Star is Born. Lock it in.
This movie was the Titanic. Titanic.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Yeah, no, we heard you.
There won't be a sequel.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, because the boat go underwater.
Although,
Our next
never say
movie.
never because they love that.
I mean, it's James Cameron.
they love that
Titanic.
cash.
All you
Titanic.
need is the multiverse. A few reviews for you here for this final movie, this final flick. Stupid brilliance. Can you guess it?
That's it?
That was the
Okay.
That was the review.
Okay.
Not a man of many words there. Adam Naiman.
So this is going to be a bad movie then because that was a good review.
The film intensity mirrors the competitive and wild personalities of the pilots themselves. In this arena, the casting is on target.
This is Top Gun?
These are positive reviews, which means it's going to be a bad movie.
It's a big, dumb movie that was probably bad for the world, and it's also totally awesome.
Independence Day?
It's Independence Day, I think.
I think it's Independence
It's Independence Day.
Lock it in.
Lock it in.
The movie was at 57% on the tomato meter, 1986, Top Gun.
Wait, it's rated that low?
Can you believe that?
I think it's good. I just watched it, and I think it's good.
Yep.
I don't want to spoil anything.
Do you
for
got
anybody,
Daturday
obviously.
brain, though?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
We have time on the heels of this game we've played for the second time. We've got time quickly for a tease of a new game.
Ooh.
Cool.
This happened when I looked at Top Gun's ratings. One of the first things I do is just kind of see, like, what was the overall vibe? Flickster is not the most reliable regardless, but especially with older movies, you've got to think this meter wasn't around when the movie came out brand new. And, Flickster has its own issues, Rotten Tomatoes, in that they don't necessarily even let us be critics, so what do they know?
Yeah.
But I want to play a game, and we might have to come up with the title on this episode, but I want to play a game to where I have a movie for you, and you have to guess. We've done something similar before, but we've never stuck with it. You have to guess the Tomatometer critic rating.
Okay. Yes. I love it.
Cool.
Critic
And I'm
rating, not audience score.
The critic rating, and I'm only going to allot you.
Didn't we call this golf? We played golf.
We've played golf before, but I want to try this again. I think we did it
Okay.
on IMDb, and I think it makes more sense for Flickster. But what I want to do is give you an allotted amount of points that you can only stay within, right? If you ever
Okay.
go over,
Yeah.
then you're out. Whoever can get the most movies within that amount of point total is best. 25 feels good, but I'd love to name the game after the number.
Okay.
Is there a significant
25
number for us?
under, you can't be more than 25 under?
Or over, right? You can only
Feels
be
like way too big of a window, doesn't it?
well, there's going to be multiple movies. You've got a bank, right?
We
We have
you're going
25
through
points to
this.
spend. Yeah.
These are all the points you have to spend.
Got you.
Cool.
What do we think here? What does that amount?
I like 20.
20.
I guess it depends
We
on
could-
how many movies we're doing, but
It could also be, well, it's just how many you can do. It's however many, whoever can do the most within that.
I got it.
I feel like I said that. I don't know.
We might change it if it feels like too much.
Today we'll call it I'm feeling 22. I'll give you 22, two
Ooh,
chunks.
okay. I like
22
that a lot.
I'm feeling 22. Now, a movie that I mentioned earlier, I didn't give you, ultimately it's certification, whether it was rotten or fresh, based on the game that we just played with Who Am I? But let's start with Saving Private Ryan.
Mm-hmm. Critic
And I am
review.
going to allow, it will not be like Price is Right. I'm actually going to allow you to be able to guess the same rating if you want to.
Okay.
But we'll do Saving Private Ryan. Who would like to go first on Feelin' 22? And I'll keep track of these scores. Doge would like to go first, starting with 22 points. What do you
Critic
say?
scores are out of 100, right? They're a percentage.
Out of 100, yes.
86.
89.
The actual rating was 93.
Oh.
I almost guessed 92.
So Doge is down to 15 left, and Jordan is down to 18 with a bit of a lead here.
Mm-hmm.
Our next movie will be the other movie that we discussed that was not, I told you exactly what Top Guns was and that it was rotten. Let's take a look at the Titanic. What do you think critics rated the Titanic? Also, it's called Titanic. There's no "the" there. I'm naming the boat, not the film. Forgive me. Forgive my historian ways.
Jordan, you're first on this.
Am I?
I mean, I went first last time. I want to take turns.
Always been a turn boy.
Okay. It's either going to make me or break me. 76?
See, 76 is the number I was thinking for sure. So,
He lying.
no. It really was. I mean, it means I don't want to guess that. Or I could guess it and we'll just stay exactly lockstep. You would beat me by 3. So, a little strategery. I'm going to guess 79.
It was actually 87.
Wow.
Jordan loses 11 and goes down to 7 points. Doge loses 8 and goes down to 7 points.
Yes.
I respect the game of what you just did, I feel it has no respect for this game. Does that make sense?
Ooh.
It does, because I'm just saying, do I think it's higher or lower than yours? But I don't want to lose right now.
Sure.
In a final round, if both players go into the negative, it will be who is ever less negative in the end. So there is a scenario where I'll just keep guessing the same thing all the time so that no one ever loses, but we're maybe too
You only have to
competitive
worry
on this
about that.
podcast to want to
You only have to
lose.
worry about that for one of us, it seems, probably.
The final film is
That means he's
Morbius.
thinking about doing it.
The final film is Morbius. What do you think
100.
the critic rating was?
Can
for
they go
Morbius?
higher than 100?
Doge, you go first.
27.
Critic rating for Morbius.
Keep in mind,
Critic
it's
rating
Morbin
for
time.
Morbius.
What did you say?
I said it's Morbin time.
That's amazing.
At the end of the movie,
Rating for Morbius.
the end of the movie. Think about how critics would have felt at the end of the movie when he morbs out.
34. Somebody's winning, somebody's losing right here.
The
How games
actual
is.
rating from audiences was 71%, by the way, which
They
is
don't know anything.
bonkers
That's
to me.
ridiculous.
They don't know anything.
The critics was 17%.
Oh,
Doge wins at -3.
7. I literally was like, I'm going to go with
17.
12, but I don't think I've ever seen a movie that low.
It's so crazy.
17.
And Jordan ends
my
at
gosh.
-10.
Yeah.
This was a fun first round. And this will be the kind of thing that just keeps going until we're out of points. I'd love to see how far we can get.
Yeah.
But you got 2 movies within the bank. You went over
Yeah.
after 2 movies, so we'll keep track of that too. Congratulations, Doge, on winning. I'm feeling 22.
17. That is shocking to me.
One of the lowest ratings for an actual movie. Like, I'm not counting like B movie, like trash movie kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
one of the lowest
movie where
ratings for
people-
an actual release.
Where
Yeah.
people like ostensibly tried to make a good one.
I don't know.
It's
how
within
you
the
can even
year.
argue
It's
that.
within the year. There was a movie that came out that cost $200 million that got a 17% on Rotten Tomatoes.
And we watched it on opening night
We sure did.
like a bunch of goobers.
To end today's episode,
Mhm.
and a full one, I'd say. We had two newer games,
Yeah, I'm bloated.
2 reviews,
Yeah.
a lot of Tom Cruise, big bloat.
Yeah.
Let's say it probably needs decades from now.
Mm.
The superhero genre has not come and gone. It's stuck around, and we're doing some fun, inventive things. There's brand new stuff out there, even new superheroes we've never heard of that aren't in canon. But what they try and do, DC starts to redirect the ship, and they're coming back through some of these awful ones, and they do a few installments, and then they decide, you know what, it's time to go dig up the nastiest thing we've done on Rotten Tomatoes. Let's make Morbius again. They're remaking Morbius.
Morbius is Marvel.
I'm sorry, Marvel. Sorry.
I was going to let it
Marvel redirects all this. I was thinking of another Batman. Sorry.
Hmm.
They come back and they're like, you know what? Let's try. Let's just try and do this. Sony has given up. They've given it all to MCU. Marvel Production Studios can do this themselves. Marvel Cinematic Universe. They've recast Morbius, who we'll say it's a decade from now so that we can age them or however you want.
Okay, so how
I
many
want you-
8-year-old actors do
Yeah,
we
right.
know?
I want you to give me your name and tell me who is the new Morbius that will bring it into certified freshness. I'm Carter, and I'm going to say, just because it's appropriate for his taste for blood, Armie Hammer.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
It's going to be his comeback too. It's a
Yeah.
crazy, like when everything accidentally goes well. Armie Hammer.
He insisted on doing his own blood stunts for.
They call them blunts.
I don't know if they do. I'm Doge, and when the great corporations all control the earth in 10 years, every story belongs to every corporation, and so we're gonna cast Keanu Reeves as Morbius, but an aged Morbius who must come out of the shadows and mentor a young vampire, and it's gonna be just Batman Beyond, but with actual Batmen. And the movie is called Morbi-Us,
Nice.
and the U is capitalized.
I'm Jordan.
I love it. Is the U the only thing capitalized? The only letter?
Yeah, it's actually just a U. It's only a capital U.
That's
but
the name of the movie.
In the
It's just you.
In the future, language is more efficient, and so we know that that means Morbi-Us.
The movie's just called Just a capital U.
But future language has to be so efficient.
You don't have time. You got to run from all the mega Vs. Scoop up your government allocated water pack as you sprint away from the mega bees. I'm Jordan. Ana de Armas.
Well, yeah, cool, fine.
Oh,
Give me like a woman in her prime, a killer actor.
Mm-hmm.
She's a vamp. Let's do it.
She'd be a great vampire.
Yeah. No, she'd be perfect.
Cool. Gosh, I would love a good vampire thing to come out.
Didn't you watch Midnight Mass?
I did, and it was good, and I want more.
Oh, I didn't know it was a vampire thing.
It's only been out for like 7 months, so I guess.
Oh, bro. You can't do that.
Oh, why?
You can't drop. You would have hated if I dropped spoiler for you.
It's been out for 7 months.
7 months? It's not enough time.
Dunkin' Refreshers are the perfect way to get a little more out of your day. With more tropical flavors like new mango pineapple and more ways to get glowing. Available with green tea, coconut milk, or lemonade. You've got what you need to make the most out of every moment, even the ones spent stuck in traffic. What a beautiful day. Sip into all your favorite Dunkin' Refreshers like new mango pineapple. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer. Additional charges may apply.
You made it. Checked out of office to check into the sweet views of this place where the kids aren't asking for the Wi-Fi.
Mom, can we go to the pool?
And when you're with Amex, it's not if it's going to happen, but when. American Express. Don't live life without it.